Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to be going over how to use Quizlet if you're not familiar with it. Quizlet is an online flashcard program that I use to help me memorize definitions as well as structures for anatomy and physiology. Now you don't have to use Quizlet if you don't want to. You could use some other online flashcard program, or you could go old school and just use paper flashcards. However, there are two good reasons why I like to use Quizlet. One is that I've already got it all set up for you. So you don't have to spend any time finding the correct definitions and figuring out what you should know and what you don't need to know. It's already done. The second one is that Quizlet will keep you honest. So the problem with paper flashcards is you tend to think you know more than you do know. Quizlet removes all of those doubts. So how do we get to Quizlet? If you scroll down the left-hand side of our Blackboard site, you can see there's a link that says Quizlet site. Click that and it will open up our class Quizlet site. You can see the name is here. And I am not logged in or signed up right now. I'm not sure if they're going to make me do it, but if they did, you would log in there. Now, I suggest that you open a free account. This is to help keep track of your progress. Quizlet will keep track of which words you miss consistently and which ones you hit consistently. And the ones that you know pretty well, it's going to remove from the suggestions. And that will save you quite a bit of time to just study the ones that you're having a hard time with. If you look at all the sets, there's a whole bunch here. You can see that they're not in any particularly good order for the way we're going to cover these terms. It insists, and I can't figure out how to change it, on putting the last thing I worked on at the top. So you can see digestive terms is sitting here because that's the most recent one I worked on. So you're going to have to scroll around and find the ones that are in the syllabus for each given week. If we just look quickly, you can see that some of them say terms, and those are definitions, and some of them say ID, and that would be identification, which means that there's going to be some pictures that you're going to use to identify structures. Although Quizlet comes on the computer, you can also get it on your iPhone, you can also get it on your Android phone. Sometimes with these identification pictures, they're pretty hard to see on a phone. So you might want to go to a computer to work on those ones. Let's look at urinary ID first. So when you first open a set, because I'm not signed in, it just assumes I don't know what to do. And so it says click card to see the definition. So here's the term and here's the photo. And I can just click to go back and forth. And you can kind of run through the entire set that way. If you need to see it bigger, you click on the picture. See how I made it bigger? You can see this is the star, so that's what I'm looking for the name of. And that happens to be the ureter. And you can go one way or the other way. I suggest in an ID you start with the picture and then you go to the term. So for the first time through, I would look through these pictures and look through all of the terms that are on here and sort of familiarize yourself with it. However, then you want to start testing yourself because just looking at the pictures isn't going to help that much. So then what I would do is I would play the match game. So see over here, match. Oh, it's going to make me sign in. Okay. So what it's going to do, it's going to throw up a big bunch of pictures, and then it's going to have the terms, and you're supposed to match them up. So for example, this particular picture goes with this term. That's the afferent arteriole. When I put them together, they turn green and they disappear. If I do it incorrectly, you'll see both of them turn red and then slide back apart again. And your job is to try and match these up in the shortest amount of time possible. So you're going to want to do this a bunch of times. And the other thing that I want you to notice is that there's far more terms in the set than you see in this just one game. So you're going to want to try and do it a bunch of times. When you're done, you go back. The next thing that I would do is I would use the learn function. So the learn function is going to quiz you. It's going to give you the picture, which I think you can make bigger, and then it's going to ask you which of these options is that picture. So that would be the proximal convoluted tubule, and you get it correct. This one, now, that happens to be the ureter, but I'm going to call it the male urethra. What happens if I get it wrong? Uh-oh, study this one. So here's the correct answer. This is what I said, and this is actually what the male urethra looks like. So when you get something incorrect, take a moment to look at what it's supposed to look like. That's what the male urethra looks like. Okay, as we move through, you'll see over here, this is how many terms we were starting with, 21. I got one of them right, but I hadn't mastered it yet. So you have to get it right twice for the computer to think that you actually figured it out. So that happens to be the descending loop. This is the ascending loop. That is the efferent arteriole. You see how I'm familiar with some, but I haven't yet mastered any because I haven't done two yet. So you want to run through this learn function a bunch of times. In our class, you are going to have to write the answers, in lab especially. So what they're going to ask here is they're going to ask you to type in the answer, and it has to be spelled correctly. So this is the renal pelvis, and I'm correct. See, I'm qualified to teach. All right, now say I said this was the collecting duct. It's going to tell me I'm incorrect. It's actually the descending loop. It's going to tell me to press any key, and then it's going to basically keep track of the fact that I got one wrong. At some point, you're going to be done with everything. You've gone through a bunch, and then you can create different sets out of the ones that you've gotten wrong a bunch of times. So this is a way to keep you honest. There's really no way to write the answer unless you actually know the answer. There's no easy flip over of the card. That's Quizlet in a nutshell. Hope you enjoyed the video. See you in class.